begin recording. Yeah, we're good to go, Amanda. Thank you.
Okay. First step for all of our guests, please go to your chat window and you'll see where I put a link in there. If you could click that Google Forms link and just put your information in, this is where we're going to send you a video, the video recording of the video tonight, as well as our PowerPoint and PDF presentations that we share with you. We'll send it so that way you'll have a copy that you can access at all times. With that, though, we do ask as we start speaking, feel free to put questions in the chat. I'll share them when we have breaks throughout the presentation. But when anyone else is speaking, please go ahead and just mute yourself. You never know when a dog might show up, someone's knocking at your front door, or a car horn. So just so everyone can hear with ease, if you could just keep yourself muted when anyone else is speaking. That's really all I have for housekeeping.
Awesome, Amanda. Thank you very much. And the big thing I'd like to make sure that everybody knows, if you would like to get a copy of this presentation tonight, all you need to do is either register with us or give us your email address and name in the chat, or you can get our email. I'm going to give you our email address, and you can send us an email and request this presentation so you can get a copy of what we're going to show you tonight. I'll just throw our email out right now, and then Lisa, you can do the same when we turn it over to you. But teamchet, and that's Chet with one T, teamchet at Guild, G-U-I-L-D, mortgage.net. And that will come right to our team, and we'll make sure you get a copy of tonight's presentation materials. And we'll do a drawing for those of you who are out there and send you some swag. If you're the lucky winner of the drawing tonight, we'll send you some cool Guild stuff in the mail and email you our presentation. So be sure to shoot that in your email info in the chat, or hit us up on our email address privately if you'd like to. And with that, our goal again is to educate and inform you. We'll have some question and answers at the end. If you have questions that we didn't cover, there is no bad question, please ask. But it's my pleasure now to introduce the host tonight, our sponsors, if you will, Total Performance Realty. And they are a great group of realtors who know how to take care of their clients. We've enjoyed working with them, and they want to share with you their knowledge and experience and make this an easier process for you to buy your first home or your second or third home. These guys, I should say these ladies, know exactly how to make that happen. So let me introduce Lisa Kicak. She is the owner and broker in charge of Total Performance Realty. She's pretty awesome, and I'm going to let you have it now, Lisa, and welcome.
Thanks, Chet. I really appreciate that. Hey guys, I'm Lisa Kicak, Total Performance Realty. I am joined by Alina Bowden and Holly Sapola, my team. Hey guys.
Hey.
We have broken down the home buying process into like a step-by-step process, the good, the bad, the ugly, the down and dirty. We're going to tell you exactly what you need to know, what to expect, and hopefully answer some questions that you guys have. So we're just going to give you an outline, and we hope that we hear some questions come through. So I'm going to share my screen. Possibly. Can everybody see that? Thumbs up. All right. So I am looking to purchase a home, and my current situation, Alina, I'm a renter. What should I be doing right now?
Right now, you should be talking to your leasing agent. Kind of see how much time you got left on your lease. You know, it takes about 60 to 45 days to buy a home. So now is the perfect time to talk to them.
Okay. So you think that there's a pretty good chance that I would be able to get out of a lease right now?
Most leasing companies are lenient. If, for the right purpose, they might let you off your lease.
So I should probably be doing that right now.
Right now.
So what if I'm a homeowner?
It's great. Well, you should hire a licensed agent. You could come buy your property. Let's do a market analysis, do a walkthrough around your property, see what it's worth. Never know.
But you would let me know if I need any repairs or upgrades, if that's worth my while.
Yeah. Once we do the walkthrough of your property, we can kind of see, does the roof maybe needs to be replaced? Does the fencing needs to be, repaired? Couple parts, a new paint job, those kind of things.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now show me the money. Chet's going to talk to us a little later about Chet and Amanda, sorry, about all the ins and outs and the nuts and bolts of financing. But if I am paying cash or financing, Holly, I'm going to finance because I haven't won the lottery yet. What's my first step?
That's a great question. So since you'll be financing, I would ask you, hey, have you found a lender that you're wanting to work with yet?
No, I haven't.
All right. Well, no worries. We have some great lenders in our group that we can share with you, and we can get you an appointment, go meet up with them, talk to them about your options, and get the process going so we can have that pre-approval done and let those sellers know, hey, we're serious and we have the money.
Okay. So I do need a pre-approval letter to make an offer?
In today's market, yes, we do need that to let the sellers know that we're serious.
Got it. So needs and wants. This is something that you will need to actually make a list of for your buyer's agent. There are nice to haves and there's need to haves. If I have 4 children and 2 dogs, I don't want to look at houses with 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. It's not going to work for me. That's a need. If I have dogs and I want a fenced in yard, that's probably a want because I can always put in a fence. But that's something that you have to individually decide on your own because everybody's wants and needs are different, but you have to be honest with yourself and honest with your buyer's agent on what exactly your needs and your wants are. And then we can start looking for the correct house for you. Now we're going to start with a home search. Yay. This is the most fun part of the process, and it can be the most frustrating. I say frustrating because you have your eye on this 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in a gated community with a community pool, and it's in the school district you want to be in, and it's pending by your appointment on Saturday. So you just have to mentally prepare yourself for situations like that and just realize that that's how this goes. And we're going to walk you through the whole process, and it's if it's meant to be, it'll happen. And you just have to be honest about your wants and your needs and be open to making some last minute changes. So if I want to make an offer, Alina, what's my first step? I found the house. I want it.
First things first, I will email you purchase agreement. People don't, to be honest, people don't read it, but it's so important to look at it, go over it, kind of get familiar with the lingo on it. And first things first. So I would do that. Then in the background or of the shadows, I would do my research on the property, schools, neighborhood, kind of do some market analysis, see, what the home could be worth, because we don't want to over price or over offer or under offer. We're going to use the right amount that we think is worth.
Cool. So you would be able to tell me if they're going to put like a new I-85 through my backyard?
Yes, I would do my due diligence and make sure there's no
awesome
and stuff like that.
Awesome. So yeah, infrastructure in this area is changing so rapidly. It's very important to get a local expert in your area that keeps an eye on the market and keeps an eye on infrastructure and keeps an eye on DOT and what the plans are, possible plans. And that's our job. That's what we are supposed to do as your realtor. So what is an offer, Alina? What exactly is an offer?
An offer is a promise to purchase the property. I promise to purchase property for X amount of dollars in X amount of time. It's a binding contract. So once that seller accepts it, you're on the hook.
So if I promise to purchase, I have to.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So that brings us to due diligence. So we are one of the only states that has due diligence. And due diligence is a time period where the buyer can actually back out of a contract. So the only caveat to Alina's strict offer, it's a binding contract. During this due diligence period, which is normally 2 weeks to 3 weeks, just depending on what you and your buyer's agent decide, you can get all of your inspections. You could wake up one morning and just be in a bad mood and not want to buy the house. You don't have to give anybody a reason. You don't have to buy it if it's during that due diligence period. But what you have to keep in mind is there's a deposit that you give with due diligence, and that due diligence deposit will come off the price of the house at closing. So it's like a deposit, but the only difference is that due diligence money goes directly to the seller. So this can help an offer, but you have to be prepared to lose that due diligence money if you decide to back out. We use due diligence daily in offers to make our offer look sweeter than someone else's. But you just have to, I tell my clients all the time that you have to be prepared to take that amount of money into your fire pit and burn it. Because if you're not going to back out of a home, it doesn't matter, but you have to be prepared to lose that money if you decide to back out. Contingencies. So girls, we've seen some contingencies recently, haven't we? We didn't see contingencies for quite a long time during the crazy market spike that we had, about a year ago. A contingency is when you own a home and you make an offer on another home, but your lender states that you have to sell your home to purchase the other home. That is a contingency. And you should not be afraid of contingencies. We have done plenty of deals with contingencies in place. It's all on how you structure the deal, and also, what your loan looks like and your lender looks like when you're making that offer. Just to make sure that your house is on the market in a timely period, and just be open with your buyer's agent, and we will be open with the listing agent that we have a contingency here, but everybody agrees that this house can sell in X amount of days, and that's how the real estate market works, not the crazy one we just went through. So don't be afraid of contingencies. Inspections. So I've heard of home inspections, Alina. Can you tell me something about what happens during a home inspection? And should I get one?
Most definitely, you should get one. They're very important, and they are done during your due diligence period, which is 2 to 3 weeks, whatever you decide on. The licensed inspector, he will come in, he will check everything from head to toe, roof, foundation, crawl space, appliances, you name it, he will check everything thoroughly.
Okay. And what if he finds something in this inspection? You said I need to get that done during the due diligence period, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
If we find that, if when he finds something, give us room to negotiate with the seller. Hey, we found this issue, something has to be done. Can we, renegotiate and see, can you fix this for me? Can I get some seller credit? Stuff like that.
Okay. And Holly, I've heard of radon, septic, and water inspections and pest. Can you give us a little idea about what each one of those are?
Yes, so a septic inspection is similar to, your home inspection. However, this septic is a tank that's used for waste. So if your new home isn't on a sewer system, it's going to have that septic tank, which is very common. So the system needs to be periodically checked and emptied. So it's very important, because if a home is listed for 4-bedroom, it needs to have a septic permit that has that 4-bedroom capacity. Otherwise, it's listed incorrectly, and that, needs to be corrected. Pest inspection, that's going to be, an inspection checking for termites, any existing or previous pest damage, as well as moisture in a crawl space. Super important. That can cause a whole lot of issues: mold, structural damage, tons of things. Radon inspection is very important because it can be very dangerous if those radon levels are too high. It can cause a lot of damage, trauma to the home, because it's dangerous. It's something that cannot be seen, or you cannot smell it. So it's an odorless, colorless gas that's released. So that definitely needs to be checked out during that due diligence period. That way, if anything does come up along with, the other inspections, we can make arrangements to have those repairs done, or any changes that need to be made.
Awesome. So what is radon is released from the ground?
Yes, underneath the soil. It's natural. It's pretty, it's normal. All homes have it, but there's a certain level of, where it becomes very dangerous to people in your home and your pets.
And it comes from granite, right?
Yes.
So let's say that our home inspector has found that the roof has nail pops and needs repaired. Let's say that he also has found that the power distribution box is not safe. And let's just say the septic tank is full. So what exactly would we do at that point during due diligence? We would go back to the listing agent and we would do something called a due diligence request. And at this point, between the buyer and the buyer's agent, we would ideally get a general contractor to come out and give each one of these issues a dollar amount, because you want to go to the table with an educated decision. You want to know exactly how much each item is going to cost individually, so you know what you're dealing with. So if, let's just say we had a general contractor go out and it's going to be 15 grand to fix all of these issues, and he breaks those down. So the buyer can actually say, okay, well, I'm okay spending 10 grand, but not 15. So that's their stopping point, so that's where we go to the negotiation table for you, the buyer, and know we have to get it above the $10,000 mark, hopefully get the $15,000, have everything covered under those negotiations. And that is the only time that negotiations happen after the offer is accepted, is during the due diligence period before it ends. So it's why it's really important to get all of your inspections done, completed, and everything evaluated before that due diligence ending period comes around, because it has to be decided by that point. So we're waiting for closing. Girls, Alina, what's one thing you don't want to do when you're waiting to close on a home?
Don't buy no new furniture.
Yes. Holly, what is another thing you do not want to do while you're waiting to close on a home?
No financing a new Mercedes. Don't be pulling up in a G-Wag. Just wait a few days.
Absolutely. So I'm sure that your lender will give you a strict no-no list of what not to do while you're waiting to close on your home. But basically, we cannot stress this enough. Don't even look at don't have anybody even look at your credit. Like, don't even think about having it pulled. I don't care if it's even Target. I don't care. Do not have your credit pulled during this process. You are pre-approved at the certain stipulations at time of applying for the loan. So those stipulations have to stay exactly the same. They cannot change. No payments can change, nothing can change. So, wait to get that 6 months same as cash furniture, because that counts too when you close on your home. And then the last part of this whole adventure is being a homeowner. So congratulations, you made it, if you made it that far. But it sounds like a complicated process, but it really isn't if you have the right team on your, if you have the right people on your team, someone to show you the ropes. I don't care if you're a first-time home buyer or a fifth-time home buyer. We do this every single day, and we're here to educate you and help you along the process. And like Chet said in the beginning, there are no dumb questions. The only dumb question is one that's not asked. So with that said, Chet, I will hand it over to you right now.
Thanks, Lisa. That was great. And I'll share my screen as soon as you unshare yours. But Amanda has put up the form. If you join late, make sure to register via the forms that's in the chat box. If you click on chat option, if you're watching, you can find that in the chat section, the link that you can register, and we'll send you this presentation, and you'll have lots of great information to use as you go forward, and call for any questions that you have. And again, I'm Chet Mann. For those of you who joined late, I'm with Guild Mortgage. We are a mortgage company that's nationwide in 49 states except New York. Sorry if you're from New York. We were formed in 1960, and we have grown and grown. We're a top 10 independent mortgage company now. I'm Team Chet Mortgage, and one of my best teammates is Amanda Stevens, and she's helping me do this presentation. So I'm going to share my screen now and take you through a quick presentation of our own that I hope that you will enjoy. And as soon as it powers up, let me get it to where I can use it. I'll be right there. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Looks good.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. So this is our little home buyer guide packet. And I'm going to go through several slides that we're not going to cover, but you'll get this if you request it because we're full of information. A lot of it's going to echo what Lisa was telling you and Holly and Alina were sharing earlier. So some of the benefits of owning a home, buying versus renting, which shares, I think today, a lot of compelling reasons why it makes financial sense to buy versus rent. And we hope that's what you get from this meeting today, as well as all your different options. And hopefully you walk away feeling like it is doable and I can reach this goal. So renting does add up. And this slide I wanted to share because you might be able to own your home for a lot less than what you're paying for right now in rent. And it's just staggering to see if your rent's $1,000 a month in 3 years, it's probably going to be, $36,000 in 10 years, 120. In 30 years, you'll pay $360,000. Let's talk about paying your own mortgage rather than your landlord's mortgage. And I thought that screen just makes the case for investment in a new house. Some of these we're going to just slide and skip through, but I'm going to let Amanda talk about the pre-approval process because the realtors at Total Performance have shared with you kind of the process to get started on buying a home. Amanda, why don't you share now the steps of getting approval and the home buying process?
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. You crushed it. Out of you three, would any of you ever take off on a Friday afternoon or Saturday morning or Sunday morning and show a house to anyone who's not pre-approved? Are you going out? Are they going to let you? Is the list agent even going to let you in the house?
They're not going to accept an offer.
Okay.
They're not going to accept an offer.
So that goes to, it's not that we're saying, oh, you have to. It's pretty much the seller is saying, if you're going to take time and come into my house, I want you to be serious, that you're not, just on a lot kicking tires, that you're going to come in and that you actually have the ability to purchase my house. Because again, it's a lot of people's valuable time. That you representing the buyer, it's the buyer themselves and the list agent and the sellers. They have to leave. They want you to come into their house. So with that starts with our pre-approval process. We have a wonderful online system for you to do an application. We also still, if it's old school and you want to give us a call or come in person, it's great. We're here in Sanford and we offer that, or even a FaceTime or Teams call. We will take whatever you feel comfortable doing as far as your application. But that comes in, we pull your credit, look at your 3 credit bureaus, go off of your middle score. And from the information you've put on your application, we're going to determine what programs you qualify for, how much purchase power you have. Can you buy 250? Can you buy 450? But what we do though, is we're also going to call you and we're going to ask you, maybe you can buy 450, but you're more comfortable with a $1,700 monthly payment. So there's a lot of different things that go into the pre-approval application. We want to make sure before you get too far down the road that you know what you're getting into as well. With that, we have your pre-approval letter. We're going to go ahead and send it to one of these 3 wonderful ladies. Then they're going to go, all right, we're ready to look at your needs and wants and get you into, start looking at some houses and start showing property. So then from there, you're going to go ahead, you'll get under contract, and then it comes back to us that we're going to send you your loan disclosures. That's just going to say, hey, based on this property with this information, here's what your loan looks like. You're going to sign it. You're going to provide your documentation, and we're going to submit your file to underwriting. Underwriting reviews everything that you've provided. They check against your verification of income with your employer. They check your bank statements and just make sure that everything you have matches up so that they can approve the loan. And then it's really fun from there. We get you a clear to close, everyone's favorite phrase, and you get to the attorney and you get your keys.
Just kind of simple as that, Amanda.
Yeah.
It is a process, but we try to make it easy and we don't skip over the steps. So that's the pre-approval process that's so important to do. There's a lot of terms, lingo, and we're not going to go over those, but I did want to share them with you just so you can see some of the more common mortgage terms that you'll have, and you'll be happy to, or we'll be happy to have you have those in your packet. But I do want to move to our next slide, which is like loans to fit your life. And basically what I want to show you on this slide is the different programs that we can use to try to help you get your first home or your next home, because there are different options and everybody, no 2 people will qualify for the same program. and everybody's in a different place in life. So somebody may be able to be a USDA customer with no money down. Others may not fit into that box. They could be an FHA customer with 3.5% down, and vice versa. Different credit scores that we will actually allow here. So GIL does have pretty lenient credit scoring, as low as 540 on FHA and USDA loans, and as low as 620 on conventional loans. And we do have conventional loans with only 3% down. So we're going to talk about some low and no down payment loans in just a second. But I wanted to share that slide with you. And let me go to my next part, which is a little bit about some down payment assistance programs. I'm going to let Amanda take it from there.
Yeah, so on this, these are down payment assistance programs that we are certified to offer. The first one is through NC Housing Finance Agency. And what that is that's a state agency that offers a few different programs. Their two main ones are it's called the First Home Advantage for $15,000. And the other one, they try not to confuse you, is called Home Advantage for 3%. So on the First Home Advantage, the $15,000, there are some requirements. You have to have a 640 middle credit score. There's income requirements per county that you're looking at, so those can differ. But it's a really great program because the $15,000 can go towards your down payment. It can go towards closing costs. You can stack it with any of the other programs I'm about to share, as far as like a 100% financed USDA or VA loan. So it's a really good to help structure your program depending on where your need is for the funds. They also offer a 3% if you're not a first-time home buyer towards your next purchase. And that's obviously based on your purchase price, and they'll give the 3% towards the down payment for you. Our second option is our 1% down payment through Guild. And what that does is if you are within 80% of the median area average income, so again, it's another income-driven program, you only have to bring 1% of the purchase price, and Guild will give you 2% in a grant that you do not have to repay, as well as buy it down the first year 1%. So it's a really good program to help, again, with getting as little out of pocket, but to get you in a house. And then here are the main programs that are available. FHA is something you hear a lot with first-time home buyers, but it is a first-time home buyer, but it's also, you can reuse it. You could be a second, third, fourth, fifth time. Sometimes you can have two at a time depending on certain circumstances, but you can reuse it. And it's great because whether your score is 620 or 780, your mortgage insurance is based on the same. It's a really great program that comes with as little out of pocket as possible. Then your USDA is 100% financing. This one is an income-driven program as well. It goes from based on how many people are in your house. So if you're a 1 to 4 family, if you're a 5 to 8 family, so it depends on that. Depends on where you're looking as well in the county of the state. But it's a really strong program to get you in the house with as little out of pocket as possible. And then another one is our VA one for our active and former active military veterans. And again, it's 100% financing. This is another one. Some people think you can only use once. You can reuse it. You can have more than one VA loan at a time. You have bonus entitlement. So we really look at the best way to structure it depending on when you come into us and when you apply.
Thanks, Amanda. And those are great programs to share. And a lot of times we can piggyback some of these down payment assistance programs with these different loan programs so that all your closing costs or some of your closing costs are covered as well as your down payment. And the big thing that I think that we ought to talk about just briefly is we've mentioned credit scores a lot. I don't have a lot of slides on credit scoring because that's a whole class in itself, but I will tell you that we are able to take an application and pull your credit. And we're able to tell you exactly sometimes what you need to do if you're concerned about your credit to get your score up. And a lot of that just includes keeping balances low on credit cards, keeping credit accounts paid on time, and then being able to pay down debts if necessary in order to increase your credit score. So, as low as 540 just to qualify for these particular loans. But then to get the down payment assistance, we've got to get your score up. Some of them at 620, the 15,000 one at 640. But don't be afraid. If you're watching tonight and you've got steady job, good income, maybe average or decent credit, or you're just not sure, go ahead and talk to us and let's see if it makes sense to apply. Because if you're a motivated home buyer working with a qualified quality agent, we're going to find a way to get you on a path to home ownership. And that using these 3 programs, a lot of times with some down payment assistance and sometimes without, is the way to get it in, is the way to do it. And if you are lucky enough to be in the USDA or VA category, you may be able to get into a home with no money out of pocket or very little out of pocket. So makes a lot more sense at that point in time to buy than it does to rent. So just
And we'll
wanted
say,
to
like Chet said, well, I'll piggyback on that, is we'll take a look at your information up front. And maybe if you can't buy today, that's not, hard stop forever. We're going to take a look at it. And, a testimonial we have is about 5 weeks ago, someone pulled their credit. It was not the best. I think we were looking between 560 to 580. And so they did 2 things and they popped up to a 642 and a 651. So
Exactly.
you just, let us take a look. It might not be as scary as you think it is.
And we're going to stay connected to Total Performance Realty. We're going to stay connected to your realtor, and we're all going to work together like a village to get you into this home. So if the answer is not right now, it's going to be tomorrow or the next day or next month. We're going to stick with them and work together so they understand what your needs will be in order to buy your home and how many closing costs you'll have to pay, and if any of them are being covered by these programs. So it's a great team effort and very easy to do if the buyer is motivated to do it. And like Amanda said, we will help you get eligible, if not today, sometime in the future. And there's no better time to start than now. So thanks, Amanda, for that. Let me move back to our other presentation quickly here. One of the pages I really like, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on, but what drives mortgage rates. Great page to read. If you go to the chat and ask or give us your email or sign up, we'll send you all this. But Amanda, I'm going to put you back on the spot now. And
Okay.
There's a lot of mortgage myths out there. A lot of people probably watching right now have some preconceived notions about why they can't do something or what they've heard. Why don't you take a quick stab at some of the more mortgage myths that are out there?
So it kind of piggybacks to what we just talked about, that you can't overcome bad credit. You can. We've seen it. I've worked with people within 15 days that they can get it up, and we've worked with people over a year. If you're vested in trying to become a homeowner, we can make it work for you and do it together. So again, we'll take a look at it. We'll look whether it's bad credit, maybe a bankruptcy, foreclosure. We'll see what the steps are, the timeline looks like, and we'll help you achieve it. Mortgage costs. No, you're not going to be charged all these hidden fees. If anything, we're required to give you upfront initial fee worksheets so you can easily ask, and we will provide it to you depending on the scenario you're looking at. And then you'll know. And so not only do you have, your straightforward fees, it's not always it's not a fee charged by us. They're just the cost to get the house. You have property taxes, you have homeowners insurance. Again, you might pay for the home inspection fee, that you did outside of it that we don't require, but there are costs associated with the house, but you're not going to have all these hidden fees that show up at closing. We're very upfront with what it's going to take to get you to the closing table. And then the affordability, it's been a long time since you've had to have 20% down to buy a house. Again, the loans we just talked about, you can go anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down and be a homeowner. Sometimes even with those programs, the way they're structured, or if you get seller paid closing costs in your negotiation on your contract, you can get your upfront due diligence and appraisal fees that you've paid, back at closing. So there's a lot of ways for us to make you win at the closing table.
Well said. And Amanda, there is no cost and no obligation to do an application.
Mm-hmm.
There's no cost up front at all. And everything we charge is collected at the closing table, not up front. A lot of people have the notion that you've got to bring all this money up front. Only the due diligence that Lisa talked about on the real estate side, but not on the lending side. So, if you want to be a home buyer, the first step would be to get a great realtor and to do a loan application. Let's see what we have. So I'm going to take this next one, give Amanda a break. Lisa, you hit on this earlier really well. But let's talk about the do's and don'ts of home buying. Because, the worst thing that we can ever see happen is we get everybody ready, everybody's pre-approved, and then something happens during the loan process that now might require you to delay closing or maybe make you ineligible. So here's some tips. Do make sure your employment, your assets, which is your cash, savings and checking and things, and personal information is correct on your loan application. Be prepared to account for non-payroll deposits into each account that you plan to use towards your transaction. And what that means is lenders don't accept cash deposits. We want to know where the money came from. So we need to be able to properly source that money. So if you bought something or sold something and you're using that money to buy a house, make sure you've got a bill of sale, make sure you've got a deposit slip, make sure there's some way to track where that cash came from and how you deposit it into the bank account. And a lot of times that's simply because of issues in the past of fraud and straw buyers and things like that. The government guidelines require us to properly document deposits. So if you have questions about that, you should call us first before you move money in or out of your account, just so we can help make sure you're doing it in a way that will be compliant and doesn't cause any red flags later. Also, please do always respond to any requests from your loan officer team. We're not trying to get into your business, and we're certainly not trying to make anything personal, but when we ask for something, there's a reason. We're trying to paint a picture of you or your family and present that picture to our underwriter who's going to approve or deny your loan. So when a lender asks you for things, it's not because they want to practice playing around with documents. They really want to be able to understand their customer file so that they can present it to the underwriter to get you ultimately approved and closed on your home. So don't ignore those requests because there's a reason we're asking for them. And do continue to make all your payments on time. Just because you're buying a house, don't stop making your mortgage payment if you already own a home. Don't be late on your credit cards. Continue with life as normal. And then there's a lot of don't apply for any new credit or financing of any kind. Don't co-sign with the loan for somebody else. During the loan process, while you have applied and you're in the search for a home or under contract, don't open or close any new accounts because it can really disqualify you or create a whole lot more paperwork for you to answer questions. And like Holly said, if you go ahead and finance that new Mercedes and it's an $800 a month payment, it could put you over your being able to qualify based on your debt to income ratio. So that's why she said, don't come rolling up in a G-Wagon or something like that. Don't raise red flags for the underwriters, such as co-signing on another person's loan. Because if you do co-sign, the government allows us to monitor your credit during the loan process. There are going to be questions and paperwork you're going to have to fill out or statements you're going to have to give as to why did you co-sign or open a new account with somebody else. Don't make changes to your name, address, your income, and especially don't change your job. You cannot change your job during the loan process while you're under contract to buy a house and expect there not to be consequences. It could disqualify you, and you have to be employed during the loan process when you're buying a house. And don't spend your closing costs. And we're going to talk a little bit about closing costs, but the closing costs are the typical and customary fees outside of your mortgage down payment that you have to be able to pay at closing. So you have to have funds to pay your closing costs. So don't go buy all your furniture and deplete your cash before you close on that house. And then there's lots of other things. Amanda, why don't you talk about the 4 levels of approval so people understand the difference in those?
Okay. So there are 4 different levels. The first one's your pre-qualification. What that is the information you put on your application, what you tell us. If you make $8,500 a month, you've been at your job for 2 years and you have $27,000 in the bank. If that's what you told me, and I base your pre-qualification just off of what you've told me, I have no documentation, no verification of this information. It's a pre-qual letter. To get a pre-approval, which is the next step up, is that you have sent me some documents. It could be you've sent me W-2s, 30 days of pay stubs, couple months bank statements. And then from there, that's a pre-approval. That means you've sent me a decent amount of your documentation to upgrade your level of qualification. Underwriting credit approval is your next level. What this means is not only did you send me some of those documents I just mentioned, you've sent me everything required. If there's additional, if you're self-employed, if there's any other information that we would need from you, we take it and we actually submit it to our underwriter. they'll turn it around within 48 hours, and we give you what's called a conditionally approved credit letter. And basically that means anything but the when you're under contract, the clear title work from the attorney and a clear appraisal, as far as your credit, your income, your assets, your finances, they are approved at that point. Then the next one is your credit approval protection. If you meet all that, and you provide everything to us, if we're unable to close the transaction in that timely manner, we will actually we'll pay up to $1,000 for your inspection and up to $5,000 in lost earnest money if for some reason on our end we delay it. So basically we're stating we shouldn't miss it because you've given us everything that we're guaranteeing you're going to close on time. But we give you that option in case for whatever reason we decide to not close you. But we're going to close you.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So there's a big difference between the levels of approval, but getting pre-qualified is the very first step. So thanks for hitting that on that, Amanda.
Yeah.
Just a couple of things in here that I'm going to skip over, but we have a little bit more on home buyer protection plans that she mentioned that are in the packet. Some waiting periods, but we're not worried about foreclosures or things like that because most of you on this call tonight haven't bought a house. So fortunately, that is not an issue. Some really good things in here that you might benefit from having or enjoy having after the call. If you give us your email address, we'll send it to you. But here's a checklist of the things we typically will ask you for in order to process and underwrite your loan. These are the more typical ones. Not all of these would be applicable to everybody. This is probably 90% of everything we'd ever ask a buyer to give us. And then really important, Amanda, probably one of the biggest things that we see, and Lisa and Alina and Holly might can say this too, one of the biggest things that comes up at the end that can cause real heartburn and stress is not having the funds to close that we thought we had. And it's just really important to understand that. So Amanda, talk about, if you will, accept these acceptable sources of funds to close.
Sure.
And kind of what they mean.
Okay. Well, your earnest money or due diligence deposits that you make at the time of your offer and executed contract, you get credit for. But to give you credit, we have to verify where that came from. If you show up and you bring Lisa, 5 crisp $100 bills, she's going to go, no. Because believe me, I've actually had someone send me a photocopy of 5 $100 bills. I can't guarantee that you came up with that money. I can't guarantee that was actually then provided to the seller. So we need to be able to source it. We want to make sure that your money is in the game so you get credit on that final closing disclosure, and you can get credit whether it's towards the purchase price or if you're getting some of those funds back. Other places that you receive all this is from your checking and savings account. Again, I've talked with people and they have mattress money. That's great if you want to save that and that's how it works for you so that you don't spend your money. But at some point, we need to have that money in a bank account. And it has to be seasoned for at minimum 2 months where we don't see where that deposit came from. So there is that workaround on that. So it needs to be seasoned 2 months. But if you already have it in a bank account, that's great. We're just going to get the last 2 months bank statements and show you had those funds and that they are your monies to use. Every once in a while, we'll get business owners. They might have a business account and then they have their own personal account. If you're going to use it, that's fine. We just need to know so we can tell you how to use it or how much of it from your business that you're allowed to take and use towards the purchase versus just from your own personal account. Last thing that's very popular, whether first-time home buyer or repeat, is you can get gift funds. It's a great thing. You can reach out to your aunt, your uncle, your grandma, a really close friend, and they can give you gift funds. It's just another thing we have to document. And we'll give you a gift letter to DocuSign. We'll get a copy of their bank statement showing that they did have those funds available to give to you. And it's real simple. They'll send it to the attorney on closing day and everything will be worked out.
Another great way to buy a house, if you've got a great job, great credit, maybe you just lack the down payment or the closing costs, you can use a gift fund from a reliable source, and it's totally legal to use. So just lots of different ways we can work together to make sure that you get into your home. Couple other pages that we're not going to go over, but and I know that Lisa and they always have great house hunting lists. We have some checklists in here if you're interested in those. And then I want to touch one more time on the 9 tips for a smooth closing, because it's just really important to reinforce it, guys. Don't change jobs or suddenly become self-employed. You got to wait till we close to change jobs or change how you're paid. Please don't buy a car, truck, or van unless you plan to live in it. And if you need to buy a car, call us first. If yours dies and the engine's blown and you got to get to work, we're not saying you can't buy a car. Please check with us though, so we can make sure you can afford it in your qualifying ratios before you go plunk down that money. Okay. It might be better to rent a car or something than buy one if you have an emergency, but just call your lender first. Don't let your credit card payments fall behind. You got to stay on top of those. Don't spend the money you've saved for your down payment because it's going to be due at closing. Don't let anyone else check your credit score, please, because the more times you check it, the more vulnerable your credit score is to going down. Don't make any large deposits other than your paycheck. Those normal standard deposits are fine, but don't make any other large ones. Again, call your lender if you need to, or there's going to be a large unusual deposit going in. Let us know so we can help you avoid any problems. Please don't change bank accounts. If you hate your bank and you're tired of it, please wait after closing to move your accounts. That creates nightmares for documentation. Don't co-sign for anyone while you're under the contract. Just try to tell your friends or family members you're going to have to wait till you finish on closing on your own home. And don't increase balances on any credit cards. Don't run up a balance while you're in the loan process. If you have to for some reason, just call us. And a tip that I think Lisa or somebody made a comment about earlier is, last but not least, don't buy the furniture just yet. We must verify your credit and employment prior to closing. We have to call your employer and verify your employment, and we must verify your credit. And that report will show if you have incurred any more debt, which could affect your ability to close the loan.
Sleep on the floor until you have the keys.
There you go. Or at least call us and let's have a conversation. Let us run some numbers. If you've got to buy something unusual, we'll help coach you through that. And then of
I
course,
want to touch real quick, Chad. I want to touch back on with the don't let your credit card payments fall behind. For our move up buyers, if you're selling an existing house and you're moving up or downsizing for retirement or whatever it is, don't stop making your house payments either. Do not, just because you're selling it, you never know if something might fall through on your purchase. If something gets delayed by 2 days or 2 weeks, it's still going to work out in the end. You're going to either get more or less proceeds at the closing. Always make your house payments, credit cards, auto loans, everything. No matter, I'd rather you get a refund than you get a late payment and now you no longer qualify for your new purchase.
Very true. Well said, Amanda. Just skipping through, we're at the end of our portion of this. Congratulations on your new home. Don't forget to turn on your utilities. These are things that your realtor will be sure to help you with. We just included in our home buying packet.
And your utilities, that's a soft credit pull. So don't be afraid when we say don't have your credit. You can definitely, if it's, the water, if it's Duke, if it's your homeowner's insurance agent pulling a soft credit for you, those are soft pulls and those are perfectly fine to do.
Yeah, exactly. So that's our portion of it. If you have any questions about financing and different loan programs and options, please let us know. I hope that you take away from this that there are lots of ways that maybe you weren't aware of to get into a home that's easier than you might have expected. And we have a whole process for taking you from loan application all the way to approval. And remember, if you're not sure if you have good credit or if you're not sure you can do it, just get with us and we'll help run through that program. And we've got your back. We've been around a long time, and Team Chet Mortgage has been doing this for 15 years here locally. We want to help everyone become great homeowners and build wealth through home ownership. So I'm going to unshare my screen, and Lisa, I'm going to give it back to you if you want to make some finishing remarks. And I hope everybody's enjoyed our piece.
Absolutely, Chet. Thank you guys so much. You guys did a great job. Emphasis on the nose. So I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us. If you have any questions, you can reach out to myself, Alina, or Holly. Our emails are really easy to remember. It's lisa@totalperformancerealty.com, holly@totalperformancerealty.com, and ditto for Alina. So, and if you want to look us up on the web, it's Total Performance Properties. I'm the owner, broker in charge. We have that small town feel, but we've been called pit bulls with lip gloss. So, we're don't confuse the smiles for weakness, because we do have your back too. So if you have any questions at all, just please don't hesitate to ask, and we'd be happy to help you with your process. Thank you.
Same here, Lisa. It's teamchet at guildmortgage.net. These guys, these ladies are awesome negotiators. They will work for you. Do not be afraid to get into this market, because it's time to quit renting and start buying and create wealth through home ownership. And we're here to help you with that. Thank you guys for letting us help you host this meeting. And we'll talk to everyone soon. Hit the chat, hit the link, or email one of us on this call, and we'll send you this presentation. Thank you all.
Thanks,
for joining
guys.
Bye.
Good night.